Hey everyone, buckle up for a lower body workout today. You'll just need one heavy dumbbell. I snagged a 25 for this one. Each move we're going to do for 30 seconds and we're going to repeat one circuit before we move on to the next. Our first move of the first circuit is a reverse lunge. For this one, you're going to do just one side at a time in a front rack position on the same side as the moving leg. Make sure you keep your chest up tall and you're bringing that step back enough so that the front knee stays behind your toe. You should feel this a lot in the back side of the stationary leg. As you're coming to standing, you're firing up your glutes and your hamstrings. The last move is a goblet squat. So you're going to hold the dumbbell up at the collarbone by the end of the bell, keeping your abs braced nice and tight. You set your hips back and down into a squat while keeping your chest lifted. Now that we've done 30 seconds of each of those three exercises, we'll rest for 30 seconds and repeat. I'll leave it up to you if you want to repeat each circuit 2 or 3 times, but I would really encourage doing each circuit at least twice so that you can really exhaust those muscles. I set this workout as kind of a superset, so we're really targeting and exhausting these muscles before we move on to a different set that's going to fire up different muscles. So again, 30 seconds each exercise. You have a single leg reverse lunge, followed by single leg reverse lunge on the other side. In both cases, you've got that dumbbell front racked. And then again, the last move is that goblet squat. Once you finish it the second or third time, you're going to rest for another 30 seconds before we head into the next circuit. Okay, circuit number 2. Here we have a staggered deadlift. So again, the dumbbell is on one side. On the leg that's down with the foot flat on the floor, I want that leg to be the primary holder of your body weight, whereas the other leg that's kind of kickstanded behind is merely just for balance. 30 seconds on one side, followed by 30 seconds on the other. A deadlift is a hinge move, so your hips should go back while you're bending at the hips. There's just a slight bend in the knees, but not near as much of a bend as you would see, say, in a squat. The third and final move in this second circuit is this sumo deadlift. So for this one, your feet should be wider than hip width apart with your toes facing outward just slightly. Otherwise, it's the same movement pattern. You're setting those hips back, hinging at the hips with a nice flat back. Again, 30 seconds of each of those 3 exercises, followed by 30 seconds of rest, and then repeat that circuit 1 to 2 more times. If you're wanting to level up and challenge yourself a bit more, instead of the kickstand deadlift, you can do a standard single leg deadlift. So instead of having that back toe on the ground for balance, you can lift it up. Just be sure that foot is flexed and you're kicking that heel towards the wall behind you. Also make sure that when you level up here, you don't sacrifice your form in any other way. So keep your shoulders back and down, your back is flat, and making sure there's just a slight bend in the knee and your primary movement is through the hips. And again, finishing this circuit with that sumo deadlift. This whole circuit is really targeting the back side of the legs. There's very little quad use here. So the hamstrings, the glutes, even a little bit of the calves. Whereas the last circuit, we saw a little bit of the back side of the leg and some of the quads as well. All right, circuit number 2 is done. Rest for 30 seconds. Our final circuit is going to be on the floor. Our first move in this last circuit is a bridging clamshell. So while you're on your side, keeping your elbow underneath your shoulder, you're going to lift both your hip and your top leg at the same time. You're going to feel this on the outer side of your glutes and hips as well. You're going to do 30 seconds on each side, just like we have with all the other movements today. The last move is a hip bridge. So on your backs, feet as close to your glute as possible. You're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling and then lower back down to the floor. Get as full of a range of motion as you can, driving those heels and shoulder blades into the floor. Again, once you're finished with 30 seconds of that, rest for 30 seconds and repeat that circuit 1 to 2 more times.